Ready.
All right,
All
you're
right.
being recorded.
Go ahead, Chip. You can just go, unless you want me to introduce you, Chip.
Introduce him. Make it good, Joey.
Okay, we'll make it official. So,
Hey, listen, really quick, Joey. I always say that there's a couple things you need to be able to do at a drop of a hat. Tell a really funny story. Sing a really great karaoke song, like on the fly. And you should always be able to introduce someone like this, like off the top of your head. So,
yeah, I got two of the three.
well, then we'll work on the karaoke later.
How'd you know it was the karaoke thing? Not the funny stuff. Okay. So,
I was hoping it wasn't my introduction.
I'll just botch that up. Chip, I just introduced you last week too. It was fun. So if everybody would just make sure that you muted at all times until Chip answers questions, and that's the microphone in the corner of your screen. So we have Chip Hoffa, and thank you everybody for getting on also. These are our 60 and 60. That's what we're calling these trainings. And we're doing them every 60 days for about 60 minutes. So this is actually our second one. The first one was for Pro Team. And this one is with Chip. And I'll just tell you right now, the thing with Chip, not only is his name fun to say it Chip Hoffa, Chip Hoffa, Chip Hoffa. His name is fun to say, but he is like crazy knowledgeable in every corner of the universe. I don't know why he knows so much. It's actually kind of annoying, but whenever you need to know something, you go to Chip, and you also hashtag Team Chip. That's the way it works. So he is going to give us some good content for your Facebook pages. So when I tell you guys that what he's about to talk about is so important for your business, it is so important for your business. So I hope you're ready to take a ton of notes and listen to everything he says. He spoke for us last week on our team call, and the whole time I'm like, I don't know why he knows this. It's ridiculous. So take his advice, take notes, and then put it into action. Don't just take notes and stick it in your desk. Make it happen. So Chip, whenever you're ready, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you for that. So I'm really excited to be here speaking to you guys, and I feel like just really honored to be here and asked to present this information to you. A lot of people don't know this about me, and some do, like Sherry, who's on the call. I'm sure she remembers this well. But I actually auditioned to become an APD for Chalene back in 2011. And if I remember, like the one thing that stood out more than anything, when I got up and I had my note cards and I was doing my speaking, and I was like shaking because I was so nervous because Shalene's sitting there at the table in front of you. I think it was Sherry and Mindy Lawhorn also sitting there. And I remember she like pulled me aside at the end, and not really quietly, but she said it really loudly. She was like, hey, I just wanted to tell you that your clothes are too tight and you need a spray tan. And I was like, okay, well, she's probably right. I probably do need both of those, actually. And so like, it really like, it hurt me a little bit, but it made me just like want to be a master trainer so much more. And I just made like lit a fire in me. But I just knew that the timing then wasn't right. And it just wasn't meant to be at that time, but it just wasn't something that I ever gave up on. And so that's why I feel like so honored to be giving this presentation to you guys today. So I'm going to share my screen here and play this presentation for you. Is it popped up for you guys? Just want to make sure it's up.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. So just real quickly, what I'm going to tell you today is just what I've been using kind of as a best practice. I'm not saying it's the only way, and it's certainly not, you know, the end solution to filling our events, but I've really been trying to think outside the box in terms of getting more registrants and introducing these formats to more people, because a lot of my events have been outside of my like home base. And so I've had to be creative in thinking of how to fill them. So I'm going to talk about pre-event strategy first, how to increase engagement using Facebook, how to make your stuff visually appealing, and then last but not least, the social media checklist that I kind of put together. Just as a rule of thumb, just things that I listed out that I think are really important to make sure that you always have done on your social media profiles. So first of all is pre-event strategy. So I wanted to talk about when you're booking your event, I always do the same thing. I'm on the phone with the host club. We confirmed a date. We confirmed a time. And I always write then and there while we have that vocal connection, I inform them that I'm going to be creating a Facebook group where the people who are interested in the event can ask questions, find out how to prepare, and get all of the details of the event. And prior to getting on that call, if I know the event's going to be confirmed, I've already got the URL ready for that event and ready to give that person then. And they probably won't take it down then, but I at least let them know, hey, I've set this up, and this is where everyone can go to find out information. So this is not just a group for people to find out information after they've registered for the event, but it's a group where anyone can join who possibly may be interested in learning more about the training. And so I just set the URL to be something that is easy to remember so that that person maybe will remember it and let their team know. But I also follow up with an email to them after we get off of the phone, inviting them to join the Facebook group, just because there's a good chance that we're not Facebook friends yet for me to add them to that group individually. So this is a lot on this slide, and I'm going to go slow. And again, like Joey said in the beginning, if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, if you want to drop it in the chat so you don't forget it, you can totally do that. And then I'll read it at the end, or if you just want to save it till the end, that's cool too. So this is just some ideas that I want to give you in terms of an outline of how to create community in your groups. So there's a couple different ways to do this group. You can either make these posts like on the cuff. You can write them in advance and save them in Google Drive, or you can use Hootsuite, which is a free service, to schedule and have these posts go out automated. It's totally at your discretion. Lately, I've been doing them kind of on the cuff because I've been trying different things to see what I feel like gets the most response out of people in the group, because, you know, there's some that will be talkative and ask a lot of questions, whereas some people won't. So this is my rough outline. The very, very first post I make in the group, I always pin to the top of the page so that it's the first thing that people see when they join the group, in case a friend adds them or they don't really know what the group is for. And that post is always pretty consistent, and it just welcomes them, tells them where, when, and then I intro myself. I tell them a little bit about the format, a little bit about me, and how, of course, excited I am to come to wherever their facility is located to host this training. Then at the close of that post, I always give a call to action and ask them to tell us about them. And so usually in the comments, people will write a couple sentences or two about themselves, where they're from, if they teach currently, or if they've never had any exposure to teaching before. Then depending on when you create this group and when your event books, 4 to 6 weeks out, I always post a video of the masterclass and it doesn't have to be a masterclass. It could also be of you teaching this format in your facility. But I try to post a clip that's short. So number one, it keeps their attention. And I also try to post, like if it's Turbo, for example, I'm going to post a clip that doesn't show me adding in a bunch of layers and crazy turns and jumps and all this stuff, because that's going to scare some of my trainees away. So I just try to keep it short, show something fun that we're doing, maybe a layer that we may have held for a long time, so that they really understand how fun the format can be. 3 weeks out, I explain why I'm so passionate about this format, why I love it so much, and then tell maybe a little bit of a story if you have some kind of connection to how you got involved in this format. If it's dance, you know, if you have had a weight loss story, or maybe a class attendee of yours has had a cool story that you want to share, I do that. 3.5 weeks or so out, I ask them to share the training with a friend, fellow instructor, trainer, or someone like that. I usually try to make this post pretty lengthy and give them ideas of people to think about. So I say, you know, your front row divas, or your people in the back row who show up every time and they know the choreography. I try to give some examples so that they have someone that specifically comes to mind to mention this event to. And then I ask them, of course, to add that person to this Facebook group. 2.5 weeks out, I like to post a video or picture of group work from a previous event. And I do this pretty intentionally so that people understand that they're learning from their peers, that they don't have to learn from me all day, but that they may have an opportunity to talk and work with people who are seasoned instructors already, who may have never taken a class before. And I think that it's really beneficial that they know that they have that time to work on and focus on getting ready to lead their first class. Because I think that there's been so many people who have said, wow, I didn't realize that this went on in a training. I just thought that I had to take a test and that was it. So I think that really is beneficial to people who are often intimidated at the thought of attending an event. 2 weeks out, and this is optional, I offer an incentive to register by a certain date. A lot of times this is, you know, going to make or break your training. You may be getting ready to cancel the event, or you're thinking about purchasing a plane ticket or booking a hotel. So I try to offer an incentive to register, even if I've already at my minimum number of registrants, because some people are just like, their love language is gifts and they want to win at everything. And so this often will speak to a few people and they'll register immediately, even if they're on the fence. This just happened for me for my training in Louisville a few weeks ago when I was like at my minimum. I offered an incentive of like I think it was a sweat towel, and I had like 3 people register just for this towel. It's crazy. Then next up, I have how to prepare. So I was posting all of this in this long like paragraph format. And then I realized that it would be much more to my benefit to make just a short video series. So I literally just it took me maybe 15 minutes and I filmed like the next few of these on a video series, and I just post them on our event wall. And in an effort of them to not just learn more about the event, but also to like get to know me a little bit and know that, you know, I'm going to take care of them at the event. So I tell them how to prepare, nutrition-wise, clothing, shoes, what to bring, everything they could possibly want to know about stuff they need to bring at the event or how to prepare ahead of time. I don't know if it's just me, but the last couple of events that I've had a lot of people with the objection that they don't feel physically ready to attend an event like this. Like they don't think that their stamina or endurance is good enough. And so I have even offered, like I've posted in the group a free meal plan. Like it's nothing that has Shakeology on it or anything like that. It's just literally a meal plan. It is called the 7-Day Shred that I made up. And it just is a meal plan. And several people have like done it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. So I just try to give them tools to make them just to build up their confidence so that they feel prepared and they're ready to have the training. Then a week and a half out, I give a little bit of the outline of the day. So people start to ask a lot of questions about what time we're going to do things and all this stuff. So I try to give them just a little bit of an estimated or rough draft of a schedule at that point. Again, right around that same time frame, I let them know that they can register up until the day of the event, but I ask for a rough head count so that I get enough materials from corporate. Again, this may be the time that you're booking a hotel or something like that and trying to figure out whether you need to sleep in your car or do something drastic to make your event happen. 7 days out, I offer a second incentive. Usually this is the same thing as the first incentive. Sometimes I tell them what it is, and sometimes I just say that it's a really cool prize that you for sure don't want to miss out on. I've even done an incentive before that cost me nothing, and it was simply just music mixes that I put in Dropbox and sent to them for them to teach other classes. Like it's just a steady 32 count phrase music that's top 40 that I send to them, and people love that as a gift, and it cost me nothing because I downloaded it free online. So it's just an idea of something that I've been doing lately that works. 6 days out, at that time, I remove the non-paid registrants from the group because I'm going to start communicating information to them through email and Facebook group both about what they really need to have for the day, like the outline, schedule, what to bring, and I just reinforce that information. I let people know though, before I don't just remove them because I want them to have an opportunity to register for the event. So what I'll usually do, if my event's coming up, I'll post maybe on a Wednesday morning and say, hey, I love you guys and I want you all to continue to be here and get information, but unfortunately I've got to remove the people who aren't paid because I want to provide all the information about the day to them. And then I just say, I'm going to leave you guys in here the rest of the day. Feel free to take time to look around if you're still on the fence. Let me know if you have questions. And then tomorrow I'll be refreshing our member list. I just make it like really easy like that and kind of not like I have to remove you because you haven't paid your money or anything like that. And then 5 days out, I finalize the Facebook group members by using the registration list that we have at that date, and then start communicating the information to them about the event, of course. Just some pre-event marketing tips that go along with the Facebook group that I was talking about. So I try to make sure that my marketing and branding is consistent so that people can recognize easily as they're scrolling through Facebook, and you know they often get lost in the news feed. The cover photo of the group is also something that matches the cover photo of the Facebook event. I haven't talked about Facebook events yet in my presentation, but we'll get to that here shortly. So I don't want you to think that I've forgotten that. So the event media, like the videos or infographics that I post, all have the URL to that Facebook group that I referred to in the very, very beginning of my presentation when I said that I gave that URL to the host club. And this is kind of where it comes in handy to name the group and make the URL something easy to remember, like facebook.com/groups TurboKick Louisville. That would be easy to remember for someone who lived in Louisville, I would think. Next up is post with a purpose. I think this is really important. A lot of times, we're guilty of creating posts very quickly without putting thought into what we're writing. And I think that if you really try to make your post creative, describe the brand as if you had never heard of TurboKick or Size before. Like, I try to make my post something that says like hot music, dance choreography, easy to learn, kickboxing drills, high intensity drills, low impact but high intensity if I was talking about PiYo. So I hope that those, and I use those in the first sentence or two so that they catch people's attention. Because, some people see TurboKick or Size and they're like, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to keep scrolling. So I try and hope that those keywords will be eye-catching enough for people to read the rest of my posts and find out what I'm really trying to sell them. This last thing that I have on my presentation is something fairly new that I've started doing that I really, really think is a game changer in terms of after people register for the event. So this is a little bit easier to do to those of you who are Size trainers because you're able to, in real time, look at your registration list through our Size dashboard and see when people register. And the moment that I see someone has registered for my event, for Size anyway, I can just have this stock image that I've created, and it has the date, the price, and the location on it, and just a picture of like Sean dancing, for example. And I send it to them and I say, hey, I'm so excited that you're coming to this event and I want you to let your friends know that you're coming. And so I ask them to share this image on social media and tag me in it so that I see it. And, I ask them to share it on, the image that I make is optimized for Instagram so that it fits perfectly on their Instagram, and then they can also share it to Facebook because it's also optimized for Facebook as well. And it just kind of says, I'm going, are you? And that, we all know that if you're already an instructor, you're a personal trainer or something like that, your Facebook is just full of those kinds of people. And so what my thought behind making this image is that after they register, I want to market then to their, like what I call tier 2 people, and try to bring in those other people to my event who may have had no exposure to me because they just don't know yet. So next, I'd like to talk about searching for trainees. So again, these are just a couple ways that I've tried to be creative and think outside the box and use the internet to my benefit to host these trainings that have been a little bit out of my home base. So the first thing that I've done is posting to Craigslist. A lot of people think about posting to Craigslist to recruit candidates that are looking for a job, but I also try to use Craigslist to find people who are looking to either find fitness careers like teaching, or maybe people who are interested in a particular brand or format. Sometimes I won't even include the format name like Size or TurboKick. I'll say instructor training or CEC opportunity coming to Louisville, Kentucky. And then I'll just say for more information, email me, and I'll list my email in there. The next one I do is I search for local Facebook groups. Usually if you're hosting a training in any type of city, there's already some type of groups that are established in that area. And so I've kind of showed you a little screen grab of that here on my page. So if you're on your Facebook homepage and you type in the search bar at the top there, like Louisville Fitness, and then you'll have the option to switch between like people, photos, places, all that stuff at the top. And you want to click groups. And then it's going to show you anything that would match your search terms. So it's going to pop up groups that would be related to group fitness or fitness in general in Louisville. And what I try to do is I join those groups. And I join them in hopes of making connections with people who are in that area who may be interested in my training. A lot of times they produce no results. Sometimes they do. As you'll notice from the search criteria there, it'll show you how many members are in that group when you are looking at the search page. So I really try and make it a priority to get in the groups that have a lot more people in them, just because it's going to ultimately give me more exposure. And I try not to be one of those people like who randomly join groups to promo stuff. Like I don't want to be that person and make a bad relationship. So what I'll usually do is I'll just look at the first few posts that are in the group, and I'll just kind of like take the temperature of the group. You know what I mean? I'll look and see if people are posting about things like that, or if it's specific, like I teach at LA Fitness on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Come try my class. And if I feel like it's an okay environment for me to market my training, I'll just post. Otherwise, I'll message an admin and ask them their permission. And usually the admin is more than willing to help me, and they'll even ask, you know, hey, I'll share this on my page too if you'd like, just because they appreciate being asked if you can post in their group. Social media ads, of course, this is not something that's free. You don't have to spend a ton of money to market your training. You could certainly get a lot of return on investment if you do it the right way. I don't have any like ad training or anything like that in this presentation, just because I didn't want to dive that deep into Facebook ads and stuff like that. But I played around with it a little bit again for my trainings that are out of my home base, and had a little bit of luck with generating interest. I never post with the call to action being that I want people to register, just because I feel like if someone is at that step where they're ready to register for the event, they already know everything about it. And I really want to attract more people, and then I want them to register because it's my event, not necessarily just because I'm hosting a size or turbo kick training. I want to make that connection with them so that we're in for life. Like, we're not breaking up. We've got this relationship and it's solid. And so I try to just give them a call to action, like, here's our Facebook group for more information, join us, or here's my email address, I'd love to chat with you. Things like that, so that they don't feel like that they have an ultimatum. They either have to register or they keep scrolling, because I just feel like that turns people away, or it would me anyway. Email marketing campaigns to existing instructors. I think my next slide is about that. Let me look. No, it's not. I'll talk about that in the next slide, I promise. I won't forget about that. So reaching out to other clubs. This is a big deal for me, because when I've been calling clubs, I never get the group fitness director. And, you know, I used to be a group fitness director, so I know that I was never at the club. Like, you couldn't catch me. And if I was there, I was about to teach class. So I try to be overly polite to the person on the phone, because usually they don't even know, like, group fitness, what, we have that? Like, you know, they're just so, like, they have no idea what's going on in the club. They're just simply there to scan cards at the front desk and watch people walk by. So I try to be overly polite, but vague at the same time, if that makes sense. So I know that most directors won't be able to take my call. So I'll usually say to the front desk person, could I get the email address of the group fitness director to send them details about an upcoming instructor training? Because usually they won't give you their cell phone number, and I don't usually ask for that. But I will ask for the email address, because a lot of times they're more than willing to give that out. And then at that time, what I'll do is I'll take down that email address. In the event that I do get a hold of the group fitness director on the phone, I will just say, hey, would it be okay if I emailed you a flyer with details that you could share with your team of instructors about my upcoming training that I have in your area? And then, you know, of course, I try to, like, give a little bit more detail to the format as well, so that it's not just like another sales pitch, but it's actually telling them what the training is and what it's about. Because, you know, a lot of people just don't have exposure to our brand yet, which is a good thing, because it means we have a lot of opportunity to grow. So this is what I thought my next slide was. Cool, perfect. So this is about using the class finders to build your list. This is like gold. It's seriously so good. So it's time consuming though. So I will say, if you have an assistant or you do outsource, this is what I do when I outsource, because it's so cheap, and I don't have to, like, spend my time doing it, because if I'm in Excel for like 6 hours, I just want to eat chocolate all day. So I use the class finders to build my email list, because what I'll do is I'll go to InsanityLive.com, PioLive.com, all the sites, and I'll do a search for instructors within how many ever mile radius of my host. And then it's going to display to me the certified instructors in that area and give me their contact information. Like, I couldn't, this seriously is gold. And so what I'll then do is I have my assistant take all the email addresses, I'll tell them where to go and how to find them, cut and paste them into Excel. And then from there, I'm going to talk about later what we do after we get them in Excel. I'm going to give you some ideas of free services to use to do email marketing campaigns. So all of their contact information is here, and it's at your discretion as to who you want to market to. You can, if you're doing turbo, you can send it out to Insanity and Pio and all those kind of people. Or you can just say, well, you know, I only want to send it to this many people. So then I organize my contacts into groups. So these are just a few that I have, like Midwest fitness instructors, fitness managers in Louisville. So I was telling you that when I call clubs, I'll get their email addresses and I'll import them into my email marketing campaign system. That's the group right there that I have, that I market to in Louisville, of fitness directors. And then I've also had my list of Insanity and PiYo Live instructors in Tennessee. So I have that list in the event that I'm doing a training there, for example. So I use MailChimp. There's different, systems out there and different software you can use. MailChimp is going to be one that does allow you to bulk import subscribers. So it doesn't require them to confirm that they've opted into your list. That can, in turn, though, sometimes mean that you have a lower delivery rate. So like Aweber, for example, would be a service that you could subscribe to, but they do require that the person you're opting in confirm that they wanted to be a part of your list. So, they do tend to get a little bit higher of open rates because they required that confirmation. It's totally up to you, but I do know that MailChimp is a free service depending on how many subscribers you have in your database. So this is a couple of screen grabs of campaigns that I've sent out, and just a couple ideas of campaign subjects, and just a couple experiments you could do basically. So a lot of times, again, I know I've said it 50 times, but my trainings have been outside my area and outside my realm of contacts. So I've had to think of ways that I could get these emails in the hands of new people, not just get them there, but get them to open the email too. And so one of the ideas that I had was I'll actually change, if you notice that, if you look at the from name on my campaign, I actually changed it so that it doesn't say Chip Hoffa, but it says Beachbody Live. So, this was just happened to be going to the list of Insanity and PiYo instructors, so they know what Beachbody Live is. And so they're most likely going to open the email if they think it's from Beachbody Live. But the reply to is still my email address. So the replies will still come to me. And then I make sure that I talk like the language of the email doesn't sound like that it's from a person. It sounds like it's from a company. And so I just say, hey, there's instructor trainings coming up in your area. Here's where you can find out about them. And so you'll notice that in the little preview of the campaign there, I have a video. It's the sizzle reel from Size Live, and then also a list of trainings that I have in that area there. So that was one experiment that you could try. And then the other one that you could try, of course, is using your information as the campaign details. So in this one, you'll notice I use my name, and then I just use the subject, something that was hopefully grab their attention because it just says, are you coming? And I'm hoping that they'll open that. And then you'll notice that in the very first sentence of the email, I say, how are you liking size, Chip? And so I'm acknowledging then that I know that they're a certified size instructor. And so this particular email, I'm sure, was going out to my list of people who had attended my size trainings in an effort to get them to come to my TurboCake training. Again, my call to action for this email was join the group, get more details, find out information. It wasn't just like, pay $250 today, please. So we're now moving on to how to increase engagement using Facebook. So just a few things we're going to cover here. So recruit. I talked about this a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to share one of the testimonials that I had from a participant who attended my training and actually shared this on social media. This gal in particular here, Melissa, she had 3 people registered just for sharing this graphic on her page. You'll see that a lot of people, like, she tagged people and there was lots of comments and interaction. She just happened to be a coach who had, size had just been released. And people were able, this is in South Florida, so I don't really have any connections there. But thankfully, because of her, she got 3 additional participants for me to have at my training just for sharing this graphic on social media. And then from there, I was able to look at the comments and see who had questions because she tagged me in the post. So just be aware of that, because it really is a great strategy to have to be able to increase the number of participants you have on your list. So now let's talk about event pages on Facebook. So I always create an event page on my like page. You should be using a like page, not a profile page. I know that you already know that. So on your like page, what you want to do is create the event page there. And again, the photo that's on your cover art should reflect the same cover art that's on your Facebook group, just for consistency purposes. And again, it should let them know that they can register at turbokicklive.com. They're already in the group. Hopefully, if you're using the outline that I put into play earlier, you already have built a relationship with them. So I think it's cool to put the URL up there to register so they have easy access to it. One of the reasons that I say you should absolutely be using a like page for this event is you'll notice that I have insights on my event. So I also post on the event page of the group the same videos that I'll post in the private Facebook group, telling people what to bring, showing clips of other master classes that I've done, and trying to build that relationship with them. So, you know, some people may feel a certain kind of way about joining a private Facebook group. They don't want to express that much interest, but maybe they'll be more than likely to monitor the event wall. And I am able to see the insights on the event wall because I've used it on my like page. So I can see every week how many people I reach with the event page, how many people view the event page, and how many are actively engaged with the content that I'm posting. You can see all of that only if you're using a like page, not a profile page, unfortunately. Then, of course, it goes without saying to invite people that are on your existing friends list to the event page. And remind your participants as they register to mark their attendance on the event page. Because as soon as I mark that I'm going to that event, all of my friends, it's going to pop up in my feed. And it's just going to be more exposure for you and your event. Share your class. A lot of you guys are doing this because I get the notifications on my phone. It's cool to see. You're broadcasting video of your class to help get more exposure of the brand. Live video is like taking over the world right now. So anything you can do to promo yourself and your brand using Facebook or Live or Periscope, you definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity. A lot of people don't realize that they have Facebook Live. If you're using a like page, you do have to get verified to do that, which is a pretty arduous process. But if you are using your profile page, you can broadcast live video without requesting any kind of permission or anything like that. And then, of course, I recommend saving the footage to your camera roll so that you can repurpose it and use it later to put in your Facebook group when you're marketing for your next event. These are just some analytics that I posted on my like page that I wanted to share with you guys, showing how important it is to share your post-event pics. I usually will try in this post, if I have another training that's coming up nearby, I will post that in the page here, like, hey, if you want to get in on this next group, don't worry, I've got another training coming up, and it's August 15th, or whatever it may be. If you'll notice here, what I try to do, I post it on my like page, and I ask all of the participants who are at the event to tag themselves so that it shows up to their followers as well. The purpose of that, again, is just to get more exposure on my page and this brand and my trainings to get more people at my next event. So this one post at the top here in the list view, you'll notice got 1.5 thousand views on that photo in particular. And I show the list view so you could compare it to my other posts to see how much more engaging it was than my other post. And then at the bottom, that individual shot just shows you that I reached like 5,600 people with that post in particular from that training. And you'll notice it got like 12 shares. And all that's going to do is just get more people attracted to my page and hopefully get them in another one of my events. Video is even bigger than that. This was taken before there was Facebook Live video, before I had that on my like page. So this is just a video that I posted from the Size It Up section of my training there. And you'll notice that reached like 2,200 people. So it's just all about sharing that post-event media to really get more people attracted to you, because they'll begin following you. Like after I had all of these views and stuff, I would just get messages from people just saying, hey, can you come here? Can you host an event here? When are you hosting one near Atlanta? Like all these just kind of random questions that reinforce the point that it was really, really attracting more people to me. So let's talk about visual appearance next of your social media stuff. We're almost finished, so just got a couple more slides. I just wanted to talk about a few. I've suggested a lot of like branding and image creating and video creation, things like that. So I wanted to give you a couple recommendations of software that I use to make this friendly for the non-tech savvy people. A lot of people have messaged me lately saying that they're not tech savvy. Just know that you don't have to be. Like you don't have to know Photoshop front to back or have some crazy complicated video editing software to do a good job marketing your event. You just don't have to have it anymore. So the thing that I use more than anything, if you follow Shalene, you already know that she's recommended this. It's Canva, Canva.com. It's free. You can upload images there. You can add elements like text box and colors and anything you'd want to do. You can always use Canva for. They do have stock images that cost like $1 that you can pay for, but you can also go to Google Images and get those stock images and upload them to your Canva account as well and get the same exact result for your picture. So just be aware of that. Like some of the pre-designed templates and stuff that they have for you, they do have like $1 to charge on them, but know that you don't have to do that. You can just simply build your own. And if you need a tutorial, there's a link for that as well on there that I created. So these are just a couple things that I use using Canva and my own images. No, I didn't pay for anything like that. This is a social media graphic that I've used to market my size training. And then the other one that I show you is just a flyer that I sent out to my connections who are group fitness directors and things like that through my email marketing list. I send them the flyer and ask them to share it with their instructors either via social media or through email. Again, both these I used creating Canva. They were so, like, it probably took me 10 minutes to make both of these combined. It's very, very user-friendly, and there's not a learning curve at all. So then, of course, there are apps as well. So I am an iPhone user. I know that, I think that a lot of these have the capability to work for Droid devices, but I can't say for certain. And I know iMovie will not obviously work with that. But these are some of the top apps that I recommend. And these, again, are not overly complicated apps. They're easy to use and very functional for what we do. So WordSwag is a text overlay app. You guys, I'm sure have heard, a lot of you have already heard about that. Pick Play Post is a collage app. So you can combine multiple videos, pictures and videos and put them in a collage. The Facebook Groups app will change your life if you don't have that yet. I feel like I'm a part of probably like, I don't know, 150 Facebook groups. So if you have trouble managing those, you can use the Facebook Groups app, and literally it's the best thing ever. So that is also on Android. I know that for sure. iMovie is for iOS only. I'm sorry if you have an Android, but iMovie is pretty user-friendly. There's also an iMovie software for Mac users if you have it on your computer, but I promise that the app on your phone or iPad is much more intuitive than the app on your computer. And then Dropbox, of course, is what I use to store photos and videos and music and files and all that kind of stuff. It's a free service for 2 gigs, and then you can pay, I believe it's $9.99 a month for like unlimited storage, which is a terabyte. So most people will never use that. So if you want to use a good cloud-based software that works on your mobile devices and your computer, Dropbox is what I would recommend for that. Finally, the last slide that I have for you today is the social media checklist. These are just rules of thumb that I think it's good for everyone to just kind of refresh and remind yourself how important it is that your social media is in check, because you're a professional now. Like, we all know that our profiles now, whether you're using a like page or you're using a profile page, your profile is your first impression. The first thing that people do when they hear your name is search for you on Facebook. And so you just have to make your profile appealing and let people know that you hold yourself as a professional. And so I think that a lot of times, you know, like, we just forget about that. You know, we get caught up in the scroll of the newsfeed and don't realize how important it is that the first impression we make on people, it is our social media profile. So I won't bore you by reading through all these. I'll just let you glance at them really quickly, because I know most of you guys are already crazy intelligent and already know all these things anyway. And people have told you 1,000 times at boot camps and on webinars and that kind of stuff. So I won't read through all of those. But the last thing that I have for you is just, if you want a copy of this presentation or you just want like the notes from it, you can download it at fitwithchip.com/mt. There's a PDF, interactive PDF version of this presentation there that you can download and go through it on your own time and make notes or do whatever you need to do if you don't want to take the time to watch the recording back. And I think that's all I have. Joey, back to you in the newsroom.
Thanks, Chip. So first of all, I want to say, because you have about 50 messages there that I'm sure people have questions, and that was just as you were going along. But with this information, it's like I said in the beginning, he knows so much. So Chip actually took all this information. He gathered all this information. He took the time to get all this information and then shared it with all of us. So, you know, obviously we're very thankful that you did that, Chip, but then nobody has any excuse as to why they're not promoting their events at this point, because you guys have the MT University, you have the A to Z, you have so many ways to do that. And with this is definitely, all this information is stuff that you need to put into action like yesterday. So thank you, Chip. I don't know if you want to answer some of those questions.
Yes, I'm reading through them right now. The first one I came to, I think, is that what do you do with the people that you remove from your Facebook group, Jesse? So yeah, I already have most all of those people in my MailChimp on my list, hopefully. But what I will do is, if I don't have their email yet, I will just say, usually I'll private message them and I'll just say, hey, would you mind if I take your email down so I let you know when I have another event coming up in your area? And then yes, just like you said, follow up for the next event. Yep, exactly. Constant contact is a good one. Yeah, I've heard people use that too.